Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. You've heard that before, right? But have you ever stopped to think about what it really means? It means that kindness is your umbrella in that storm. But here's the catch. That umbrella can't be so big that it blinds you to the reality around you. You see, being kind is like having a superpower. It can change lives, lift spirits, and make this world a better place. But like any superpower, it needs to be used wisely. That's where the not blind part comes in. You can't be so kind that you lose sight of the truth of what's really going on around you. Think about it. How many times have you been kind to someone only to have them take advantage of your goodwill? How many times have you given someone the benefit of the doubt only to be let down again and again? That's what happens when kindness turns into blindness. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should stop being kind. Far from it. Kindness is what makes us human. It's what separates us from the animals. It's what gives us hope when everything seems dark. But kindness without wisdom is like a ship without a rudder. It'll just keep going in circles, never reaching its destination. So how do we strike that balance? How do we be kind but not blind? It starts with understanding that kindness isn't about being nice all the time. It's not about always saying yes. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is say no. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is tell someone the hard truth they need to hear. Let me tell you a story. When I was starting out in acting, I had a friend who was always asking me for money. He was a good guy, down on his luck, and I wanted to help. So I kept giving him money, time after time. I thought I was being kind. But you know what? I wasn't helping him. I was enabling him. My kindness was blinding me to the fact that what he really needed wasn't a handout, but a hand up. It took me a while to realize this. But when I did, I knew I had to change my approach. The next time he came asking for money, I said no. But I didn't stop there. I offered to help him find a job instead. It wasn't easy. He was angry at first. He thought I was being cruel. But I knew that this was true kindness, helping him stand on his own 2 feet. That's what it means to be kind but not blind. It means seeing people for who they really are, not who you want them to be. It means understanding that sometimes the kindest act is the one that's hardest to do. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Denzel, that sounds great in theory, but in practice, it's not that easy. And you're right. It's not easy. Nothing worth doing ever is. But let me tell you something. It's necessary. It's necessary if you want to live a life of purpose, a life of real impact. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't need more blind kindness. The world needs more clear-eyed compassion. The world needs people who can see the best in others without ignoring their flaws. The world needs people who can offer a helping hand without becoming a crutch. Think about the great leaders in history, the ones who really made a difference. They weren't just kind, they were wise. They understood that true kindness isn't about making people feel good in the moment. It's about helping them become the best version of themselves. Take Martin Luther King Jr., for example. He was one of the kindest souls to ever walk this earth. But he wasn't blind. He saw the injustice in the world and he called it out. He didn't sugarcoat things. He spoke the truth, even when it was hard to hear. That's what real kindness looks like. Or think about Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison, treated with anything but kindness. But when he got out, did he seek revenge? No. He chose kindness. But it wasn't a blind kindness. It was a kindness tempered with wisdom. He knew that for South Africa to move forward, there had to be reconciliation. But he also knew that reconciliation without justice was no reconciliation at all. That's the kind of kindness we need more of in this world. A kindness that's strong enough to forgive, but wise enough to set boundaries. A kindness that's generous enough to give, but smart enough to know when giving is actually hurting. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. Being kind but not blind requires constant vigilance. It requires you to be always aware, always thinking, always questioning. It's much easier to just be nice all the time, to avoid conflict, to go with the flow. But that's not kindness. That's cowardice disguised as kindness. Real kindness takes courage. It takes the courage to tell your friend they're making a mistake. It takes the courage to hold someone accountable when they've done wrong. It takes the courage to stand up for what's right, even when it means standing alone. But here's the thing. That courage, it's in you. It's in all of us. We just need to tap into it. We need to remember that being kind doesn't mean being a pushover. It doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It means having the strength to do what's right, even when it's hard. So how do we do this? How do we cultivate this kind of clear-eyed kindness? It starts with self-awareness. You need to know yourself. You need to understand your own motivations. Are you being kind because it's the right thing to do or because you want people to like you? Are you avoiding conflict because it's not necessary or because you're afraid? Once you understand yourself, you can start to understand others. And that's when real kindness begins. Because real kindness isn't about treating everyone the same. It's about treating everyone as they need to be treated. It's about seeing the unique struggles, the unique potential in each person and responding accordingly. Sometimes that might mean offering a word of encouragement. Other times it might mean offering a stern warning. Sometimes it might mean giving someone a second chance. Other times it might mean walking away for your own well-being. The key is to always act from a place of genuine care and wisdom, not from blind niceness or fear of conflict. Now, I know this isn't easy. We live in a world that often confuses kindness with weakness, a world that often rewards the loudest voice, not the wisest one. But let me tell you something. True strength isn't about how hard you can hit. It's about how much you can take and keep moving forward. And true kindness, it's the same. It's not about how nice you can be. It's about how much good you can do even when it's hard. So I challenge you from this day forward, commit to being kind but not blind. When you see someone struggling, don't just feel bad for them. Ask yourself, what do they really need? Is it a handout or a hand up? When someone wrongs you, don't just forgive and forget. Ask yourself, what needs to change to prevent this from happening again? Be the person who sees beyond the surface. Be the person who's not afraid to have the hard conversations. Be the person who's kind enough to care and brave enough to act, because that's what the world needs. The world doesn't need more nice people. The world needs more good people. And there's a big difference. Nice people say what others want to hear. Good people say what others need to hear. Nice people avoid conflict at all costs. Good people know that sometimes conflict is necessary for growth. Nice people try to make everyone happy. Good people try to make everyone better. And here's the beautiful thing. When you commit to this kind of kindness, this clear-eyed, courageous kindness, you don't just change others. You change yourself, you become stronger, you become wiser, you become more resilient. Because every time you choose to do the hard right thing instead of the easy wrong thing, you're building character. You're becoming the person you were meant to be. But let me warn you, this path isn't easy. There will be times when your kindness is mistaken for weakness. There will be times when your honesty is mistaken for cruelty. There will be times when you'll be tempted to give up, to just go along to get along. But in those moments, remember why you started this journey in the first place. Remember that true kindness isn't about being liked. It's about making a difference. And make no mistake, you can make a difference. Each and every one of you has the power to change lives. But that power comes with responsibility. The responsibility to use it wisely. The responsibility to see clearly, to act boldly, to love fiercely. So how do we do this in our daily lives? It starts with the small things. The next time someone asks for your opinion, give it honestly but kindly. The next time you see someone making a mistake, speak up but with compassion. The next time you're tempted to agree just to keep the peace, pause and ask yourself, is this really the kind thing to do? And remember, this applies to how you treat yourself too. Being kind but not blind isn't just about how you interact with others. It's about how you interact with yourself. Are you kind to yourself? Do you forgive your own mistakes? Do you celebrate your own successes? But at the same time, are you honest with yourself? Do you acknowledge your flaws? Do you push yourself to grow? That's the balance we're after. A balance of kindness and truth, a balance of compassion and accountability, a balance of love and wisdom. It's not always easy to find, but it's always worth seeking. Now, I want you to think about your life. Think about the people you interact with every day. Your family, your friends, your co-workers. Are you being truly kind to them, or are you just being nice? Are you seeing them clearly, or are you turning a blind eye to the things that need to change? And what about the bigger picture? What about your community, your country, your world? Are you being kind but not blind on that scale? Are you speaking up against injustice? Are you using your voice, your vote, your resources to make a real difference? Because here's the thing. Kindness isn't just about individual acts. It's about creating a culture of kindness. A culture where we lift each other up, but also hold each other accountable. A culture where we celebrate our differences, but also unite around our common humanity. A culture where we're not afraid to have the hard conversations, because we know that's how we grow. But creative culture starts with you. It starts with your choices, your actions, your words. Every time you choose kindness over indifference, every time you choose truth over comfort, you're contributing to that culture. You're making the world a little bit better. And don't think for a second that your actions don't matter. They do. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, has an impact. It's like throwing a pebble into a pond. The ripples might seem small at first, but they spread. They touch everything around them. And before you know it, those tiny ripples have changed the entire surface of the water. That's what your kindness can do. It can create ripples that change the world. But remember, those ripples need to be guided by clear vision. They need to be powered by wisdom, not just good intentions. So I challenge you, be the pebble. Create those ripples, but make sure they're the right kind of ripples. Don't just be nice, be kind. Don't just be agreeable. Be honest. Don't just avoid conflict. Embrace the hard conversations that lead to real change. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't change by itself. It changes because people like you decide to change it. It changes because people like you decide to be kind but not blind. It changes because people like you decide to see clearly, to act boldly, to love fiercely. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's scary. Yes, there will be times when you'll want to give up. But in those moments, remember this, you're not alone. Every person who's ever made a real difference in this world has faced those same doubts, those same fears. But they pushed through. They kept going. And you can too. Because here's the secret. The more you practice this kind of kindness, this clear-eyed, courageous kindness, the easier it becomes. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And before you know it, it becomes second nature. It becomes who you are, not just what you do. So start today, start right now, look around you. Who needs your kindness? Who needs your honesty? Who needs you to see them clearly, to speak truth to them lovingly, to challenge them gently but firmly? Maybe it's a friend who's on the wrong path. Maybe it's a family member who's stuck in negative patterns. Maybe it's a coworker who's not living up to their potential. Or maybe, just maybe, it's you. Maybe you're the one who needs to hear this message the most. Wherever you start, just start. Take that first step. Have that first conversation. Make that first choice to be kind but not blind. And then do it again and again and again. Because that's how change happens. That's how lives are transformed. That's how the world gets better. So remember, being kind but not blind isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about getting up every day and choosing to see clearly, to act boldly, to love fiercely. It's about facing the world with open eyes and an open heart, ready to offer kindness where it's needed and truth where it's required. So go out there and be kind. But don't be blind. See the world as it is, but never stop working to make it what it should be. Be the light in someone's darkness, but don't be afraid to shine that light on the things that need to change. Be the hand that lifts others up, but also the voice that speaks up when things aren't right, because that's what real kindness looks like. That's what real strength looks like. That's what real change looks like. And that's what the world needs from you. Not just your niceness, but your goodness. Not just your smile, but your substance. Not just your presence, but your power. You have that power within you. The power to be kind but not blind. The power to make a real difference. The power to change lives, to change communities, to change the world. All you have to do is use it. All you have to do is choose every day to be that person. To be kind but not blind. So I ask you, what will you choose? Will you choose the easy path of blind kindness or the harder but infinitely more rewarding path of clear-eyed compassion? Will you choose to see the world as it is, or will you turn a blind eye to the things that need to change? Will you choose to be just another nice person, or will you choose to be a force for good in this world? The choice is yours. And it's a choice you make not just once, but every day, in every interaction, in every moment. Choose wisely. Choose courageously. Choose kindness, but not blindness, because that's how we change the world. That's how we become the people we were meant to be. That's how we create a future worth living in. Remember, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. And when you're kind but not blind, you don't just dance. You lead the dance. You become the rhythm that others move to. You become the beat that drives positive change. So let's dance. Let's move. Let's change. Let's be kind but not blind. Let's create a world where kindness and truth go hand in hand, where compassion and accountability walk side by side. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. Because if not us, then who? If not now, then when? The time is now. The person is you. Be kind, but not blind. And watch as your life and the lives of those around you transform in ways you never thought possible. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your chance to make a real difference. Don't let it pass you by. Embrace it, own it, live it. Be kind, but not blind. And change the world one clear-eyed, compassionate act at a time. The power's in your hands. The choice is yours. What will you do with it? How will you use your kindness? How will you open your eyes? How will you change the world? Remember, it all starts with you. It all starts now. Be kind, but not blind. And watch as the world around you transforms one courageous act of kindness at a time. You've got this. Now go out there and make it happen. The world is waiting for you to shine your light. Don't keep it waiting any longer. Be kind, but not blind, and change the world. You might be thinking, that sounds great, but where do I start? Well, let me tell you, you start right where you are. You start with the person next to you. You start with the challenges right in front of you, because that's where real change begins. In the everyday moments, in the small choices we make. Maybe it's standing up for someone who's being treated unfairly at work. Maybe it's having that tough conversation with a friend who's heading down a dangerous path. Maybe it's volunteering in your community, not just to feel good, but to really understand and address the root causes of problems. Whatever it is, do it with both kindness and clarity. Don't shy away from the hard truths, but don't forget to wrap those truths in compassion, because that's what makes the difference between criticism and constructive feedback, between enabling and truly helping. And here's the thing. As you practice this, as you become more comfortable with being kind but not blind, you'll start to see opportunities everywhere. You'll start to see how even the smallest actions can have a big impact. You'll start to understand that every interaction is a chance to make a difference. But let me warn you, this path isn't always going to be smooth. There will be times when your kindness is misunderstood. There will be times when your honesty is met with resistance. There will be times when you'll wonder if it's worth it. In those moments, remember this: growth is never comfortable. Change is never easy, but it's always, always worth it. Because every time you choose to be kind but not blind, you're not just changing the world around you. You're changing yourself. You're becoming stronger, wiser, more resilient. And that's the real power of this approach. It's not just about what you do for others. It's about who you become in the process. You become someone who can see clearly, act boldly, and love deeply. You become a force for good in this world. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you have it all figured out. Start now. Start where you are with what you have. Be kind to the cashier at the grocery store, but don't be blind to the systemic issues that might be making their job difficult. Be kind to your children, but don't be blind to the areas where they need to grow and improve. Remember, every great movement, every significant change in history started with one person deciding to make a difference. It started with one person choosing to be kind, but not blind. You can be that person. I said, your past, you must be that person, because the world needs you. It needs your kindness, your compassion, your love, but it also needs your clear vision, your courage, your willingness to face hard truths and take on tough challenges. It needs you to be kind, but not blind. So I challenge you one last time. Go out there and make it happen. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be kind, but not blind. And watch as your life and the lives of those around you transform in ways you never thought possible. You got this. Now go change the world one clear-eyed, compassionate act at a time.